Well, I think first of all, our panelists were extremely knowledgeable about the environment and really well beyond cybersecurity, really the business of what we do and why we do what we do. And the human factor is it's a convoluted equation at times. Is it more technology? Is it more process? Is it more education of our people? Things to that effect. And I think one of the key items that kept surfacing is that it's a very much not a one-size-fit-all answer to a lot of our environments that we address, whether it's customers, internal or other. And really, it takes the cybersecurity experts and risk managers of the world, governance people, and those type of folks to really be creative in addressing and crafting that solution that solves that particular equation for people. Being in the consulting industry for about the last 10 years, if not longer, or working for organizations like Perot, Dell, CSC, and now internal consulting for our clients, both internal and external, it really, a common factor that I've found is that information security departments are, when it really boils down to it, they're not given the kind of authority and the kind of change capability that they really require to drive that culture mindset out into the arena, out into their people and populace. And it was a running joke for a long time when we would talk about, these information security departments that basically had no insight to the business. They were given deliverables by executive management or a board or other, and really had no interaction with the business. And in many cases, they're strictly an IT function rather than a business function. Ultimately, they created, unfortunately, a department of blame. It's not a department that is a change leader. It's not a department that's leading the way in thought leadership. They're simply the department that everyone looks at when the breach occurs, and thus the department of blame. I think your question actually nails it. It really starts at the board. It really starts with your executive level leadership, whether it's the president, the CEO, your CIO, things to that effect. Again, we see a common thread. We don't have to look far, whether it's the federal government, whether it's the Targets, the Home Depot, or the Sonys of the world. We're seeing failure at the leadership level in really allowing their people to do their job. There's a reason why we don't have the amount of people, the expertise level that the industry actually needs. For many, many years, we have been anywhere from 300,000 to 250,000, etc., short of actually people with that level of expertise. And it's not because we don't have people out there with a passion for the industry. They no longer have a passion for the industry because they, again, are not allowed to lead. They're not allowed to be change management, change leaders, or thought leaders in the very industry that they have a passion for. And that requires the presidents, the CEOs, and the boards to really understand it's the people equation that really drives that capability and that authority to actually impact and affect change. It's an excellent question, and actually something that I really focus on in my speaking engagement later today. It's why. I think a lot of times we as cybersecurity professionals are really good and equipped with describing what. Meaning, for example, the financial impact of what would happen if XYZ occurs. And I think it's a failing in our industry. I think anyone can really equate to the dollar figure. If this happened, we might be in this situation, whether it's brand impact, financial impact, or other. But I think it's an education equation. And I think a lot of people in our industry, to include myself, have failed at times really educating our users, our board members, our executive staff on why it's important. and really driving that. For example, the organization that I work for, if you boiled it down to what, most people think, okay, you provide a service, you have call center agents, and they're sitting in a chair. That's not really what we do. It's why we're in the business that we're in, and that's really selling trust to our customers. So I think that mindset is key in driving culture shift in the security space. You know, I think honestly it really drives back to our own houses, where we live, where we work. And it really has to start internally with each of us. You know, how are we going to lead the way, so to speak? And I really kind of almost have to look back at my military background and how do you lead? How do you inspire other people? And I think that's a key word, inspiring other people to have as much of a passion for that equation as you do. And really leading not just with a technology answer or strategy or a people or process equation, but really creating that inspiration that really makes people passionate, just as passionate as we are. I think first and foremost, it doesn't matter what client I've worked with, Fortune 100 companies and down. And it's shocking almost that a lot of these organizations, they understand in general the industry standards when it comes to cybersecurity, risk management, governance, but in many effects are ineffectual and efficient in really delivering and coming out at the other side with a solution that really works. I use the three-leg stool analogy. You have people, process, and technology. Every single organization over the last 10 years of consulting lacks in one, if not two of those areas. Governance is a great example. Forrester's report earlier this year in March indicating that 80% of the organizations that they queried, which included Fortune 100 companies, are failing at governance. A simple exercise that's mandated by regulation and standard, and yet 80% are failing at the overall delivery and efficiency.